Welcome to this video today. We're going to talk about the psychology of people who love cats. For over 9,000 years, cats have been living next to humans. Pretty long time if you ask me. Not because we trained them, not because we needed them to obey. They chose to stay. And some people say that dogs are more loyal. Yeah, right. And that alone already makes cats psychologically different. Today, cats are one of the most common pets in the world. Hundreds of millions live with people in small apartments, in big cities, on farms, in quiet homes, in busy ones. But only in the last few decades have scientists seriously started asking an interesting question: what kind of people are naturally drawn to cats? Not stereotypes, not jokes, actual psychology, because cats don't bond the way dogs do. And people who love cats often don't either. And research backs that up. To understand the psychology of cat lovers, we first need to understand something important about cats themselves. Dogs were shaped by humans, cats weren't. Archaeologists and genetic researchers have found that modern house cats came from wild cats in the Middle East about 9,000 to 10,000 years ago. When humans started farming and storing grain, mice appeared. Wildcats followed the mice. Humans noticed the cats kept rodents away or even let them stay. The cats that were less fearful of people survived better. Over many generations, cats slowly adapted to human life, but humans never fully controlled them. Cats basically domesticated themselves. And because of that, cats kept much more independence than dogs. They didn't evolve to follow commands. They didn't evolve to look to humans for direction. They evolved to live near us, not under us. And that shapes the type of relationship they offer, which then shapes the type of people who enjoy that relationship. Psychologists often measure personality using something called the Big Five traits. Things like openness, extroversion, and emotional sensitivity. Across multiple studies published in psychology and behavior journals, researchers have compared people who prefer cats with people who prefer dogs, not to judge, to look for patterns, and some patterns show up again and again. On average, people who say they love cats tend to score higher in something called openness to experience. In simple terms, openness is linked to imagination, curiosity, liking ideas, art, depth, and complexity. It's the trait most connected to creativity and abstract thinking. Cat lovers also tend to score slightly higher in introversion. That doesn't mean antisocial. Introversion in psychology means you don't need constant stimulation to feel good. You recharge in calmer environments. You're often comfortable alone or in small doses of connection. Research doesn't say cat lovers hate people. It says they're often more comfortable without constant noise, and cats fit that perfectly. Cats don't demand attention all day. They don't constantly seek approval. They don't organize your life. They share it. Another area scientists study is attachment. Yes, people form real emotional bonds with cats. Studies show cats can develop secure and insecure attachment styles to their owners, similar in structure to human attachment patterns. People seek comfort from their cats. They miss them. They feel calmer around them. But cat attachment looks different from dog attachment. Dogs were bred to read human faces, follow pointing, and seek direction. Cats weren't. Cats choose when to approach. They choose when to leave. They choose how long contact lasts. For some people, that style feels cold. For others, it feels respectful. Psychologists studying social needs show that not everyone experiences closeness the same way. Some people like constant interaction. Others prefer shared space, being together without talking, without performing, without managing. Cats offer exactly that, a quiet presence. And research on why people choose cats often finds the same reasons repeated. I like their independence. They're calm. They're not intrusive. They do their own thing. That doesn't mean cat lovers don't need connection. It means they're comfortable when connection doesn't demand them. Another well-studied part of cat companionship is sensitivity. Cats communicate mostly through small signals, tail movement, ear position, eye narrowing, body posture. Studies in animal behavior journals show that successful cat interaction depends a lot on noticing subtle changes. People who enjoy cats often become very good at reading small emotional shifts. Psychology research finds that people who score higher in emotional awareness and empathy tend to report stronger bonds with cats and better understanding of their behavior. Not because cat lovers are better, because cats reward attention to nuance. They don't shout what they feel, they show it quietly. And if you miss it, the moment is gone. Living with a cat trains patience. You can't force affection. You can't demand timing. You can't rush interaction. And psychologists note that this kind of relationship reinforces respect for boundaries. The cat decides, you respond. Another major research area is stress. Scientists have measured what happens in the body when people calmly interact with familiar animals. Heart rate, blood pressure, stress hormones like cortisol. Multiple studies show that gentle interaction with cats is linked to short-term drops in stress markers. Petting a cat, sitting near one, hearing a familiar purr. For many people, the nervous system shifts slightly toward a calmer state. This doesn't mean cats cure mental illness. Major psychological organizations are very clear about that. But research does support that predictable, low-pressure companionship can help regulate emotion. For people who love cats, this often shows up as something simple: a cat sleeping nearby, a routine feeding time, a quiet moment on the couch. Psychologists studying emotional regulation know that small, consistent rhythms can stabilize mood. Cats naturally create those rhythms: morning food, evening presence, night movement, daylight rest. They don't flood attention, they punctuate it. Another pattern researchers point to is autonomy. Dogs fit well into structured systems: training, commands, schedules, leadership. Cats don't. Living with a cat involves much more negotiation: where they sleep, when they interact, what they tolerate. People who love cats often report that they enjoy this. Psychology has a major theory called self-determination theory, which says humans have three basic psychological needs: connection, competence, and autonomy. Autonomy means feeling free rather than controlled. Cats display autonomy openly. They are not impressed by status. They are not motivated by pleasing. They don't perform roles. For people who value independence in their own lives, this often feels familiar rather than frustrating. This might help explain why studies often find higher cat ownership in cities, in apartments, and in single-person households. Not because cat lovers are lonely, because cats integrate easily into independent lifestyles. They don't reorganize your world, they exist inside it. Some research also finds links between cat preference and creative thinking. Again, not because cats cause creativity, but because people high in openness often enjoy systems that are not rigid. Cats are unpredictable. They have strong individual personalities. They break patterns. They don't respond the same way twice. Psychology research shows that people high in openness tend to enjoy complexity and novelty. Cats provide both. It's also important to say clearly what research does not support. There is no scientific evidence that loving cats means being antisocial, emotionally broken, or unable to connect with people. Large studies show cat lovers have friends, relationships, families, and careers. There is no evidence that cats replace humans emotionally. Pets add to social lives, they don't erase them. And there is no official cat person personality. Psychology doesn't classify people that way. What research shows is something much simpler. Different animals fit different emotional styles. Cats tend to fit people who are comfortable with quiet, subtle connection. Culture and environment also matter. Cats thrive in urban spaces. They adapt well to small homes. They don't require outdoor exercise. Population studies consistently show higher cat ownership in cities. Work patterns matter too. People with long or irregular schedules often say cats fit more easily into their lives. Psychology always finds the same thing: preference grows where personality, environment, and lifestyle overlap, not in isolation. Early experience also plays a role. Children who grow up with cats often become better at reading animal behavior and nonverbal cues. But research does not show that childhood pets determine adult identity. They shape familiarity, not destiny. So what does all this really mean? The psychology of people who love cats is not about labels, it's about relational style. Cats represent a form of connection that is quiet, choice based, low pressure, boundary aware, routine grounded. Psychology increasingly recognizes that not everyone thrives in high stimulation social worlds. Not everyone wants constant feedback, performance, and interaction. Cat companionship reflects another valid way to connect, one based on presence rather than attention, on rhythm rather than intensity, on mutual tolerance rather than control. Cats were never engineered to fit into human hierarchies. They adapted to human spaces while staying themselves. And people who love them often feel most comfortable in that same space, where connection exists without demand, where closeness doesn't require noise, and where being together doesn't require doing. Understanding that psychology doesn't tell us who cat lovers are. It shows us one of the many ways humans build bonds, and why, after thousands of years, some people still choose the company of an animal that never learned to follow, but chose to stay. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.